When you come to the end of your life, you're not thinking about how much money you have or the houses you have or the car you drive. You're really thinking about the people you love. My name is Kate. I live in Hamilton, Ontario, and I'm 31 years old.
She had been babysitting, and she was coming home. I think I had just come back from work, or anyway, I pulled in the driveway and I saw her walking down our street, and she was stopping to catch her breath. And so that's when I first started asking my wife, Jean, about, did she notice anything?
I knew something was wrong. I don't think I realized the extent of it.
It took a while before we actually knew what was wrong, but we could tell by the severity of the acts that the staff at Sick Kids took from when we arrived at Emerge to her going up into the intensive care unit the same day.
I was 15 when I was diagnosed with pulmonary occlusive disease.
He told us the only thing that could save her would be a lung transplant, but that the wait lists, on the average were a year or better for pediatric patients. So we were sitting there and, we're in shock. And then he said maybe just a few months to live.
It's a sensation of being breathless.
She was not in good shape, and she was on oxygen, and she couldn't walk. She had to use a little chair to get back and forth to the bathroom. She was frightened, but we still sat on the couch together and we watched hockey and we talked and, listened to Taylor Swift. My older daughter, Heather, she just grabbed her mattress and dragged it downstairs, and Katie slept on the couch and Heather slept beside her.
I think the oxygen helped for a while. When the oxygen, I was on maximum and that was it. I think that was a pretty scary feeling. The end stages of my disease, there was a lot of fainting.
She collapsed.
I remember being rolled out into the ambulance and the fireworks were going off because it was Canada Day. Anytime you're struggling to breathe, I would just say extreme discomfort. I've never experienced a drowning, but that's what I would imagine drowning on land feels like. I think I still had a lot of hope, even in the last kind of moments of we were still hoping. I know my dad was in the hallway having conversations about giving me morphine to help me die without suffering. But I don't think I was at an acceptance kind of stage.
Katie's a very good example of thinking things through. Katie had primary pulmonary hypertension, and that means that the lung arteries have a high pressure in them, and ultimately the patient dies because the heart just cannot pump across those lungs anymore. So theoretically, it made sense that if you could put a tube from the right side of the heart to the left side of the heart so that the heart could pump around those lungs, the patient should survive that and could be bridged to a transplant for a while that way. But it had never been done before.
There was something they could try, but it was experimental, and that they hoped they might be successful. So they wanted to put her on an artificial lung.
In Katie's case, she was dying, they were doing CPR on her. We were able to put an oxygenating shunt from her pulmonary artery to her left atrium so that her heart could pump around it and her heart could get the oxygen and bridge her to a transplant. I mean, to this day, there are still people that think, how is that possible? And we showed that it is possible. She was the first teenager in the world to receive a Novalung. She's quite famous world-round because we often show a picture of her surfing 6 months after her lung transplant. And so she's known as the surfer girl.
This is all because UHN has pushed the envelope. This is all because of organ donation. I don't know, I guess I feel like I won the lottery.
I've learned that life is precious. Every day, I know it's cliche to say, but truly every day we wake up is a gift. And no day is guaranteed.